But let's get back to why we're all here to look at what the 49ers just did in their last game. Sunday was a loss, 21-20 to the LA Rams. Thank God that game didn't go into overtime. And judging the game, Larry, only on the flow of the game, that is exactly what both head coaches wanted. It really was. Now, it was exactly what the Niners wanted in the first half, and then they did not have a good second half. And it was the reverse of that for the Rams, who did not have a very good first half and had a much better second half, where the teams took turns dominating time of possession. The teams took turns showcasing a backup quarterback for the good of the backup quarterback and for the good of these coaches' reputations and for the good of the franchises being destination places. Hey, you want to send your players here. We're going to take care of them. And when it's time to put a good spotlight on them, we will do that. You know, players talk, agents talk. And I guarantee you a lot of players and agents were talking about how, you know, man, Shanahan and McVay yesterday had a couple of quarterbacks that the league is essentially in one way or another given up on, and Sam Darnold and Carson Wentz. And they absolutely took those guys out of the bubble wrap and let them play to the extent that you can let those guys play. I do think both coaches had the right approach to yesterday's game and had to have been, you know, happy with long drives and sustained drives and a semblance of their offenses being able to be seen at times. Even though the 49ers lost the game that didn't matter, I thought it was one of Kyle's best opening game plans of the entire year, given the circumstances.
Well, and it's like how many things can you take away? Why don't we start with Darnold for a second? I think that Darnold was Darnold. You know, you are what you are. You play the way you play. Sam Darnold, you know, we've debated this all season. People were like, well, what is Sam Darnold? People are like, well, he's got a great arm, and, man, he throws the ball well. And other people are like, you know what? He sucks. He doesn't complete a high enough percentage of his passes. He doesn't win games. He turns it over, blah, blah, blah. Guess what? We're all right. You know, it's like the United Way. We're all winners. We're all right. Sam Darnold does throw it great and does have moments where you're like, wow, look at Sam Darnold. And he had a great first half. He completed 74% of his passes with a great quarterback rating, and they built themselves a 20-7 lead. And then Sam Darnold, the actual Sam Darnold, showed himself as well in the second half, where he barely could complete a pass, and he finished 16 of 26. And I think that's 62% completion percentage. And then you go to his football card and you say, well, what's his career completion percentage? It's 59.7. So 59.7, put it on the Niners with their weapons and their talent. It adds to 62%. And Sam Darnold's got over 100 turnovers in his NFL career. And what happened at the end? He turned it over. And what happened at the end? They lost the game. And it's just like, I'm not down on Sam Darnold or anything, but, you know, let's just stop pretending that these guys are more than what they are. They are what they are. You play the way you play. You know, Brock Purdy completes 67 to 70% of his passes and wins a lot of games. Sam Darnold completes 59 to 62% of his passes, turns it over more than he throws than he doesn't, and loses games. Sometimes close games, sometimes big. That's what we saw. I mean, that's what Sam is. So I thought that was interesting. And then, you know, I also thought it was interesting to see some of the young players. You know, Jordan Mason again ran for 6 yards a carry and only got 6 carries. And you get in your car and you drive home going, I wonder what Jordan Mason would look like if he got, I don't know, 15 or 20 carries. Would he still average 6 yards a carry? Would he still, you know, be a player? I mean, I thought Mason was really impressive yesterday. As a receiver, he caught a nice ball for 12 yards. As a runner, he had 6 carries for 36 yards, a long of 16. So, we got a chance to see basically everything you wanted to see. You wanted to avoid serious injury. For the most part, they did. You wanted to, you know, somehow get a little rhythm going. You did that. You wanted to win the game. They didn't do that. You wanted to take a look at some young players. You did do that. I mean, basically most of the boxes were checked for the 49ers yesterday,
and you get out
despite the victory.
You get out healthy despite a little banged up knee to Cleveland Farrell. But Larry, you spoke with him in the locker room, and you said that there's not a lot of concern on your part there.
No, I mean, I walked up to Clee and I said, "Hey, man, how's the knee and how was the play?" And he's like, "It was a non-contact thing, and it kind of had a funny feeling on it." And I kind of motioned over the sideline, and they quickly were like, "Come out, come out, come out." They didn't want me to walk on it, so they carted him back to the locker room. And I said, if that had been the Super Bowl, he's like, man, they would have had to drag me out. It's like, so he would have played and continued to play. It was precautionary to take him out of the game. I'm not saying that there's no injury. The injury is legitimate, but I don't think it's a torn ACL. I don't think it's a torn MCL. They'll do the MRI today, and we'll get a more concrete evaluation of where he's at. I did talk to him about Robert Beal. He said he was very impressed by the young defensive end. And he said, hey, you know what? Robert Beal may have to step up for a week or two. So it sounds to me like it's not a career ender, but there's a chance he doesn't go in that first divisional round playoff game, and they'll play it from there. But we'll have to see what the MRI says, because sometimes guys feel one way, but the MRI indicates something else. But yeah, based on our dialogue, I would say Clee felt like he could have stayed in the game.
That's good. Well, that means his season's not over then, because you don't give off that vibe. Like, I could have kept playing if you have some real structural damage to your knee, and a player knows right away when that happens. So good news on that front. And, Larry, you're right about Sam Darnold. Kind of is who he was advertised to be. Moments of this looks really good. Other moments of, okay, now I know why you're a backup quarterback. And that might be the path for you going forward. I don't know if the NFL is just going to throw open its doors and say, here's our bridge quarterback. We're going to bring in Sam Darnold to get us to our next search for a franchise guy. Or maybe he does fit that bill somewhere. But I thought that Carson Wentz was really the surprise of the afternoon, because Carson Wentz has been a long forgotten about, easily discredited, nobody believes in him anymore level of quarterback, after for a minute there looking like he was going to lead the Eagles into their era of greatness. He really burst onto the scene, looked like an MVP candidate. I don't think this guy's ever lost to the 49ers.
4-0.
No one calculated that when we were thinking about this game, because nobody even thought Carson Wentz was on the Rams until you look, oh yeah, they signed him like a month ago. So here he is. And he kind of looked like Carson Wentz at times. Big arm, can absolutely throw a dart, a laser, tight window throws. He can also have balls get away from him. He was the leading rusher, not just for the Rams, but in the game. He carried the ball 17 times for 56 yards. And I think on a number of those, Larry, he's just calling his own number, thinking, I'm a big guy. I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to pick up this first down. I don't give a shit. I got nothing to lose. I'm playing backyard football today. And it was good enough to get the Rams into the win column.
I love this kid. I don't know what the heck's going on with his career, but I've always liked him. As I said, he's 4-0 against the 49ers. He started now. It was his 93rd NFL start. He's beat him in Philly twice. He beat him in Indy during the atmospheric river game, if you remember that. And then he beat him yesterday. And to me, the surprise of the day was how often and how well he ran. He's not that great of a runner, but he picked his spots. He played with urgency. It's funny, we asked Shanahan about him. I remember going into that Indianapolis game, and Shanahan was clearly a fan. And Wentz, I think is a decent NFL quarterback. I mean, I have a little bit more belief, as you can tell, in Wentz than I do in Darnold. Though in a lot of ways they're very similar. Wentz is 6'5", 230, throws the ball well, moves pretty well. Darnold is the same. Wentz was the second pick in the draft in the 2016 draft behind Jared Goff. And as you said, had this mercurial, start to his career. And now it's like he's been left for dead. But he's not bad. He's not bad. And as far as backups go, That's a great backup quarterback. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, how many teams in the league have a better backup quarterback than Carson Wentz?
Right. No, not many, that's for sure. Joe Flacco and Carson Wentz should absolutely go out for a drink together when the year is over, right? I mean, like two guys that the NFL basically decided, even though they had degrees of success, we're moving on. We're just not interested anymore. We'd rather see what other guys have than what these guys have left. And Joe Flacco is absolutely sitting in position to where, the Cleveland Browns could be one and done, or they could go win the Super Bowl. Who the hell knows? And Carson Wentz, I think, certainly, reappeared as an NFL entity yesterday. And I don't think that he's going to have that, sad picture from this offseason where he's wearing a combination of all of his old different uniforms, basically saying, hey, somebody come get me. I'm available. I've got all this gear. I got Eagles gear. I got Indianapolis gear. I got Commanders gear. Somebody come and love me again. I think he will get some interest based on the way that he played. Should something happen to Stafford, they got a decent backup quarterback. And look, for a minute there, should something happen to Brock Purdy, I mean, let's be totally honest, all hope would feel like it would go out of the balloon in that moment alone. But Darnold, he did complete his first 6 passes yesterday, Larry. And when he was, on the good foot, at times it looked pretty good. I thought that was an impressive opening drive. He hit Ayuk on a tight throw on like a 3/4 arm angle. He showed off his legs on a couple of runs. Shanahan called 3 QB keepers on the same drive. He didn't get the first down on the first 2, but it looked like he moved the pile a little bit. He's a big guy. On 3rd and 4 near the goal line, he did a really good job of escaping the pocket with a spin away move. He avoided a sack that play got, rendered didn't matter because there was defensive holding in the end zone. Guy Haberman even shared a video where he thinks that Darnold uncorked a no-look pass in the game. The pass that went to Mason was it a Patrick Mahomes no-looker from Sam Darnold. I think Guy Haberman has provided some video evidence of a no-look pass out of Sam Darnold. He threw that dart to Ronnie Bell in the end zone. So good moments. And then again, the backbreaking can't do that in the biggest drive of the game moment where he fumbles the ball away because he loses it on a helmet behind him. I mean, it was a little bit of a freak fumble, but freak fumbles have defined him as an NFL starter and as a quarterback. So you were right. We got kind of what we thought we would get. It'll be great to see Brock Purdy take back over a week from now when the playoffs start for real.